Hello! How's everybody doing? Welcome to another Saturday Tech Ambrosia stream. Hope everybody's doing alright. Welcome back. It is nigh Christmas. Christmas is nearly upon us. And hopefully, everybody's having a mostly relaxing time of it. I know this can be tough for a lot of folks. I usually lay low during Christmas. I just kind of stick to myself and hang out alone or in VR with friends, and that's usually my Christmas every year. We got some folks in the chat. This is gonna be a special stream for a couple of reasons. Not really because of what we're looking at today. What we're looking at is basically like what am I going to use for a home theater PC for the next few months while I'm tearing my apartment apart and moving. But most especially though, this is going to be my last stream of the year. So I'm taking next week off, at least next week off. We'll see how things go. First week of January. This will also be the last stream on YouTube. I'm going to be moving the stream over to Twitch because I'm not real happy with how YouTube has been handling the whole ad blocker thing. Twitch does it fairly elegantly. If you've got ad blocker on, you still get, an injected ad at the start of a stream, which I think is fine. YouTube, wants control over your browser, and they want to, throw in 3 ads at the start of a video, and then a mid-roll ad every 8 minutes. It's awful. The thing is, like, posting long-form videos, I still like to make the long-form videos, even though it's taking me so long to make them. And the only place to post them is YouTube, right? Like, there's no real competition in this space, right? Like, you post it to YouTube, it's the only way to get any kind of monetization from what you've done. But in the streaming space, there is competition, and I don't have to stay here, so I won't. I will have details in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully in the next, week and a half before the next stream. But basically it's going to be twitch.tv/techambrosia. That's going to be where the streams will be held every Saturday. And I'm thinking maybe we do hardware stuff on Saturdays and maybe a game stream in the middle of the week. Maybe a Tuesday night game stream. I can pull out the permanent DOS gaming PC and we can play something in DOS on Twitch, like what you're supposed to do on Twitch. I think it'd be fun. I'm also looking forward to some better integration with with Twitch chat and channel redeems and silly things to do on the stream while everybody's here. I think it'd be fun. So yeah, that's 2025. Look for me streaming on Twitch. I'll have links pretty much everywhere. I've updated all my socials already. A note went out on Patreon if you're on the Patreon. By the way, if you're not on the Patreon, it's only $1 a month. Help make independent video creators possible. Yeah, so socials are updated, Patreon's updated. I've got an updated link on the channel here. I'll probably start putting it into the video, just the regular video descriptions. We'll see about clipping clips and sticking them on YouTube. I'm not totally sold on that. I think I'd like to keep this channel for the long form evergreen stuff. I might make a clips channel for when funny things happen on Twitch. We'll see. Anyway, that's the future of the channel. For about 24 hours, basically, I haven't been able to watch any videos on YouTube. So I run Firefox and I run uBlock Origin, and apparently Google decided to make that my problem over the last 24 hours, making it basically impossible no matter what I did, whether I unchecked the quick fixes in uBlock or I turned uBlock off entirely, changed the user agent spoofing, or left it to default. Nothing worked. They wouldn't let me watch any videos, so I'm done with it. I'm kind of sick of it. So yeah, that's the idea. Moving to Twitch because YouTube sucks. Oh, anyway, we got folks in the chat. Let's say hi to folks in chat. Hello, hello. Clarjon1 Plus is here. Hello, hey, howdy. Trina's Technobabble is also here. Hi, hey, how's it going? Charlotte is here. Charlotte says this shirt is amazing. This shirt is from Eric's Edge. I recommend you go get them. They're, I think they were, at least for a while, they're on pretty deep sale. But yeah, I love this pun so much. This is so good. I'm thinking about, so if you're on the Patreon, you know I've been wondering aloud to the patrons how to best acknowledge you in videos, and of course I think I'm gonna have to do it in streams too, right? Because it's the channel's mostly going to be transitioning to streams. So I've been working some magic on my Basilisk 2 emulator and on my Quadra 700, and HyperCard is part of that, but also some other fun vintage stuff from the 90s in order to thank patrons. So yeah, that's going to be upcoming in future videos and streams. Oh, anyway. Oh, Trina says I yelled at my boss on Thursday and quit my job. So that's been your week. Yikes! I'm so sorry. That job seemed like it was working out for you. That's too bad. I'm really sad to hear that. Hopefully you quit it for good reasons. Trina says I'm going to be doing a 12-hour mem test stream on the 24th. There you go. It's a Christmas miracle. 12-hour mem test stream. Jack68K is here. Hello, Jack. How's it going? Yes, this is one of my favorite shirts. It's one of my absolute favorite shirts. As soon as I saw, you talk about like, oh, advertising is terrible, but like, I'm on Blue Sky, right? And Eric puts out the note that he's put these shirts on sale. I'm like, oh, I need that. I need that right now. So I ran out and got it because this is just, I love this shirt so much. Yeah, Trina says Firefox, YouTube was working on my Firefox on my Mac Mini. Yeah, and like I was able to watch videos if they were embedded somewhere. Like I said, I went through all the user agent fixes, I went through all the uBlock fixes, and YouTube just didn't want to send me video, me personally, which I take offense to. So, Clarjon says full stacked developer. Yeah, there you go. That's that's the whole idea. It's a double pun. So let's take a look at what we're looking at today. We are looking at a couple of thin clients. Where the heck did my desk can go? There it is. Ta-da! Couple of thin clients. We've got this one, which I think is going to be hilarious. This is an HP T630, I think. Let me double check the little slide out card. Yeah, this is the T630. This is the one that I talked about, you remember, a couple of weeks ago, where I got the Jaguar thin client, and I was like, I was looking for, I got the GX424 instead of the GX420. This is the GX420. This is a basically embedded Carrizo. So this is embedded bulldozer running at like 16 watts. It's gonna be awful. I can't wait to see how it goes. And then the other one I've done some testing on already. I thought this was going to be a pushover, like I'm just going to use this one for my home theater, for a home theater PC. Should be a piece of cake. This is a Pentium Silver J5005, which is the last of the 14 nanometer Intel Atoms. So before we got to the 10 nanometer Atoms, which were actually pretty good, we had one last stinker on 14 nanometer. This is about equivalent performance to like second or third gen, like a second or third gen i5, which is, I mean, it's impressive because it's like 10 watts, but still, a second or third gen i5 is not going to do a whole lot when it comes to gaming or emulating. I got this one because I thought, it's got basically Kaby Lake's integrated graphics, including the quick sync support. So I'm like, maybe we can do 4K 60. It'd be kind of cool if it could decode 4K 60. We'll see in a minute. It can't. It super can't. But I wanted to point out a couple of things. We've got instructions on how to attach it to its VESA mount already on there. They're like, it's like stuck in there. It's stuck quite nicely onto the case. But also I wanted to show you where this came from, because this is kind of funny. So I picked this up on eBay. I didn't realize that this came from, oh, this will focus. Can you see that? There we go. The U.S. Department of Commerce. So if you ever want to talk about an ardent tool of capitalism, that's this, to a T. Good Lord. I looked up the service code on this on Dell's website. This still has extended support until August of next year, August 2025. So like there's still a support contract on this thing. And somehow it wound up on eBay. I don't know how, but okay. I think we should probably start with opening these things so y'all can see what's inside them. We've got a couple of things on the desk here. 2 USB installers. I've got one for Windows 10 here, and then one for, God, I think I tried like 5 different, maybe a half a dozen different Linux distributions. I finally got Nobara Linux to work on this thin client. So we're going to see if it plays nicely on the embedded Carrizo as well. So you may notice I have this is a SATA M.2 with Windows 10 installed on it. That was installed on here. It was not included in this machine. I installed it. But inside this machine right now is the other. Open this thing up. There we go. So there's the inside. And you can see very clearly there's our other SSD with Nobara on it. The insides of this one's pretty okay. Like you can see, we've got right there on the left side, there's a USB 3 port. We've got some really interesting expansion options in the Carrizo one, though. That's going to be very interesting. And again, we've got one of these SFP ports on the back, just in case you want to hook it up to your, I don't know, your 10 gig fiber. I don't know what you'd use an SFP port for on a thin client, especially one that's this slow. But okay, sure. Oh, anyway, let's fire this thing up, and you can see how Nobara runs on this. So if you don't know what Nobara Linux is, oh, also, this giant thing here is the smart card reader. There's a slot in the front so you can log in with a smart card, because that's definitely what the government's up for. They love smart cards. Holy cow, do they love smart cards. I think they just like the act of like physically removing somebody's identification to remove access to a thing. I think that's why they like the smart cards so much. Alright, so let's get stuff plugged in. That is controller. We'll get the keyboard and mouse plugged into the front here. So we've got 4 USB 3 ports on the back, 1 USB 3 port on the front, 2 USB 2 ports on the front, which I'm using for my keyboard and mouse. Also, an actual USB-C port on the front there. Wow, and discrete headphone and microphone jacks. Not something you usually see on these. They're usually, more often, they look like this HP where you've got a combined, headset jack. Just a headset. So let's plug in the power. Okay. And we'll switch over to the capture card, which is behaving itself today. Hooray. Ta-da! Okay. Tarina says, "Oh God, not the Dell thin client again." This is the other week ago's Dell. This is its big brother. Oh, I'm totally expecting. Yeah, Tarina says, "Watch, the Dell won't work now." I am totally expecting something awful to happen. Let's find out. Hey, that's a good sign. Fingers crossed. So, Nobara Linux wants to kind of brand itself as Steam Deck OS, despite, you know, Valve imminently releasing an actual Steam Deck OS. You'll see just how much I mean here in a minute. I don't know if any audio comes through this DisplayPort adapter, but... Oh, also, a new addition to the capture setup. I got an EDID injector, so no more of these thin clients trying to boot at, you know, 4K when they super duper can't handle it. There we go. Yeah, she's not fast. She's not fast. But yeah, if it looks familiar, there's a reason. That's because it really wants to be your home theater PC Steam Deck OS. So what does that mean for a home theater PC? Well, playing videos on this thing, not actually the greatest interface. If you want to play games, Nobara is perfect. Absolutely. Like, you get a controller-based, you know, interface for your games. You can just move through your game library with your controller. You don't ever have to reach for a keyboard and mouse. But if you want to play videos, it's a kind of a different story. Steam Deck's not really made for playing videos, so we got to go into the desktop, which means we go grab the menu down here, go to Power, and go to Switch to Desktop. And basically what this does is this closes Decky, I think is what it's called. It's this Steam Deck interface. Maybe it's just Steam running in this interface. I don't know. But we basically get a standard Linux desktop. Just like that. There's our regular old Linux desktop. We have a regular apps menu full of random stuff. We even get, like, system applications that you'd expect to find on any modern Linux. And it seems to be running okay, right? Like, it's all right. It's fairly okay. Now, this took me some time the other night. Ah, Synthgal asks, what it running in the desktop? What are we running? What is this? I have no idea. Oh, looks like we are running probably KDE, maybe KDE Plasma? So Nobara is based on Fedora. It's a particular version of Fedora, and I don't remember which version. Yeah, I feel like this is the KDE system monitor. Yep, there we go. There you go. KDE Plasma. So that means we've got Wayland, which is good, because Catalyst Reaction asks, so how did you decide on a thin client plus SteamOS for your HTPC? Well, this is mostly experimentation, right? Like, I don't need a lot for a home theater PC. I want it to be able to play videos and run some basic emulation. That's all I really want out of a home theater PC. Because if I'm going to do serious gaming, I'm going to sit down in front of this machine, right, with a 3090 in it, and I'm going to play, like, you know, big serious games on my big serious 4K monitor. But out in my living room, I'm probably just going to be playing, you know, like Genesis or PlayStation games on an emulator, or, you know, watching videos. And this OS works pretty okay for watching videos. What I discovered... So there's a couple of different flavors of Nobara that you can get. You can get the Nobara Deck version, which assumes you have some kind of a Radeon GPU in it. Or you can get, like, the base version of Nobara, which assumes you have something else, usually Intel. And then they have like a specific version for running an NVIDIA driver or running an NVIDIA graphics card in Linux, because it's kind of a pain to run an NVIDIA graphics card in Linux these days. So they have a separate kind of like mini distribution. I guess Fedora calls them spins. It's not an actual spin because it's not an official version of Fedora. But anyway, it's all very complicated way to say it. There's basically 3 versions of Nobara. There's the basic version, which you can install onto a Steam Deck and just have, you know, basically a rooted Steam Deck. You have the basic version, which is this, which runs primarily on like Intel GPUs, and then you've got an NVIDIA flavor that runs best on an NVIDIA GPU. Anyway, let's look at what the video performance is like. I've got a couple of copies of Big Buck Bunny on my network. What is this? What? Oh. Let's see if I remember this password. I do. Awesome. I don't want to go there, though. We're going to go... I put this on here. So we've got a couple of... So we got a couple of copies of Big Buck Bunny in various formats. 1080p 24, 1080p 60, and 4K 60, and then an episode of what I've done, one of my videos, in like my archival format, which is H265, 4K 60. So, let's start with the simple stuff, right? 1080p 24. Works okay. Plays just fine. Of course, you don't have any sound because it's coming out of this the built-in speaker in this thing for some reason. I think it's my EDID injector. It doesn't send audio over that, but this works fine. 1080p 24 works fine, but this is the easy stuff. Let's try 1080p 60. Pretty smooth. Pretty smooth. And yeah, 1080p 60 offline works great. No problems. However, 4K 60 it's a little rough. It's a little rough. Yeah, that's not 60 FPS. That's not even close. And like, if I pull up the system monitor here, where did I put it? There it is. I saw this in Windows. If we look at, it's very different here actually. So this is definitely doing software transcoding, which means, okay, so we're running celluloid here for the video playback. If we do Control H, that should switch to hardware acceleration. And you can see we do drop down a little bit for a moment there in CPU usage, but it's not much. It's definitely software decoding this, which is unfortunate. It is just not fast enough to do this in software. What I found really funny, though, is if I pull up Firefox here, which has hardware acceleration enabled, and we go to over to YouTube, we'll get the what is it, the LG 4K OLED test video. this one. Let YouTube load all its JavaScript. Load all of its JavaScript. There we go. It's loaded all of its JavaScript. So if I hit stats for nerds, you can see immediately we're using a lot less CPU here. Well, look at that. We're dropping like 1 or 2 frames every couple of seconds. It's running 4K 60 video if it's on YouTube, which makes 0 sense to me. Because this is like, I don't know, what is this, VP9? Yeah, the codec for this is VP9. Okay, apparently this is fine. Yeah, Joe asks what YouTube has better encoding. I think what's happening here is we have basically a hardware decoder chain failure when it comes to H.264 or H.265. I'm pretty sure, we pause this so it doesn't play a bunch of music here, because I'm pretty sure, because this has Kaby Lake integrated graphics, I'm pretty sure it has hardware H.265 decoding, but somewhere along the line between the Linux kernel and the actual hardware in there, and then, going upwards to KDE Plasma, the Direct Render Manager, and, the celluloid video player, somewhere along that line, we've lost connection to, the H.265 decoder that's built into QuickSync. It's not there anymore, where we lost it or something is broken. Because VP9 works. It does have hardware VP9 decoding, obviously. 4K 60 with no drop frames on this hardware. I don't know why. But there you go. That's video performance on Nobara on a very old Intel SoC. This is it's about what I had expected, honestly. I kind of hoped I could get 4K 60 out of it. I'm a little disappointed that I can't, especially from like local sources. But I think probably the most disappointing part is if we go back to gaming mode here. Oh, Watson White says you're actually playing the 2K source of that vid. Yeah, it's possible. Sorry. I thought I had it set to 4K, but regardless, it runs okay in YouTube, which is bizarre. So we're going to go back over to the gaming interface. And this is where things get a little dicey. To be fair, this is, it's UHD 605 integrated graphics. It's not exactly high performance, and we're also running this on, DXVK and stuff like that. But this is original Skyrim, not special edition. This should be a piece of cake to run on hardware like this. Should be. Now, I was thinking the other night, like, what am I actually going to play on this thing that's not an emulator? I don't actually know. I don't know what I would actually bother playing on the couch with a controller. I just don't do that much couch gaming these days. If I'm going to, oh, I love this. It's running install scripts. You ran this last night. Why are you installing things? Anyway, like if I'm gonna do like living room level gaming, it's probably gonna be on like one of my Wii's or something. Because honestly, that's got the games I want to play, at couch level. This thing cannot do Dolphin emulation, not a chance. Joe from Joe's Computer Museum says, Shuffle Puck. Yeah, couch level Shuffle Puck. I think that'd probably be a really bad idea. I don't think you're going to make any shots whatsoever. Synthgal says, God, am I going to fall down the thin client rabbit hole? I'm already falling down the Windows CE platform one. Palm top one. The thin client rabbit hole is a very weird place, honestly. It's a very weird place. The nice part about it is that they're cheap. Like, that's the primary reason that I'm getting these thin clients for testing. This particular one that we're looking at here was $30. Like, and one of these SATA SSDs, this 256 gig SATA SSD, was $12 on Amazon. So it's not exactly a large investment to get one of these things up and running. And this one came with 8 gigs of RAM. So it's not so bad. I swear it's not so bad. Okay, we're going to skip the Vulkan shaders because that's going to take literally forever. I don't know why this thing reinstalled everything. I was literally playing this last night. Oh no. Yep, it's acting like it's been completely reinstalled. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh boy. Alright, no, there's an aliasing. Give me 4 samples there. Anisotropic. Set everything else to ultra. Doing 720p here. Okay. Let's go. Yup. Joe says, look at those wonderful huge menus. It just takes the launcher and it blows it up the full screen. I mean, the Steam Deck does that too. So this should start me in, I think it's just in Bleak Falls Barrow. I'm just inside the dungeon, which should be like maximum performance. The loading screen is already not giving us a whole lot of hope. 40 FPS on the loading screen. There we go. There's the gaming chops of the UHD 605 under Linux. Oh boy. Now supposedly this is 720p, but I guess maybe it is. I was gonna say I don't see that many pixels, but you can definitely see pixels on the edges. Ah, it's not great. And the of course running at 8 frames per second, the latency is really bad. You don't want to play it this way. And like this is OG Skyrim, right? Like this is the easy to run version of Skyrim. And it runs like hot garbage. Pretty much everything else on that list that you saw on my Steam Deck interface wouldn't run. It just refused. So that's the Pentium Silver. I thought this was going to be just an easy clean sweep. No problem. Just use the Pentium. And between the video playback and the gaming, it's not great. That's not great. So I guess we are going to take a look at the embedded Carrizo and see what it can do. But I'll flip us over into Windows 10 real quick here. Let me get out of here. Menus are nice and fast. It's because it doesn't render anything. So let's get out of here and let's change the SATA drive over to Windows 10. You can see what that looks like. It's mostly the same. Trina says, I mean, you can sit on your sofa and play solitaire on this computer. Morrowind will run better and is better. Yes, I understand. So, as I'd mentioned at the start of the stream, I'm going to be moving the weekly live streams over to Twitch every Saturday, and I'm thinking about opening up a midweek stream for playing games, for like just playing old games. And honestly, it's been like 25, 30 years, something, since I last played Daggerfall. I'd play some Daggerfall on stream. Because I'm like, okay, what Elder Scrolls games do I actually like not enjoy? Really just Oblivion. It's just so empty. And Daggerfall I played when I was a kid for like, I don't know, 15 minutes and I died. Typical first Daggerfall experience, right? I would play that on stream though. Francois says not PeerTube. We'll see. I don't know. I might set up a PeerTube instance to publish my long form videos too, but I don't know. So Windows 10 boots up a lot faster. However, see if it's going to try and do freaking updates. Again, I got everything like set up and up to date before I turned these things off on Friday. Did I have the good sense to install Steam? I thought I installed Steam on this. I did not install Steam. Well, regardless, the video performance is kind of the interesting part here. If I go back to my saved video files, VLC runs these videos like garbage. So I've got Media Player Classic installed on here. We can see if we run Big Buck Bunny in 4K 60. Well, never mind. It's exactly as bad. It was better the other night. I don't know why it's so bad. It was getting like 48 frames per second. Apparently, not anymore. Yeah, and again, the 1080p 60 is flawless. No problems. Let's see what YouTube... I actually didn't test YouTube on this in Windows. I'll just go the same way. Oh, Windows is installing updates. How nice. Okay, I think YouTube's done doing its JavaScript. We'll set this to 4K. There we go. It's not as good, but I mean, if I wasn't running actual 4K on the last one, that probably would do it, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Again, why does it work on YouTube and not on anything else? Okay. Sure. Oh boy, should we even try? Should we even try Steam on this thing? I don't think so. Let's see if we can pull... Nah, let's just do the Carrizo and see how bad it is. I'm really curious. Really, really, really curious. Okay. Switch over to the desk cam so y'all can see what I'm doing. Ta-da! Okay. Need to switch the power adapter on this thing too. And yes, this M.2 slot uses a normal case screw. Wild. Okay. So, we'll get the top of this thing. All right. This thing is wild. Okay, let's see if I remember how to tear this thing apart. Let's get the stand off of it first, because it's kind of annoying. Don't have to take the stand off to open it up, but it's rather large. Alright, so opening this thing is pretty simple. You pop off the back cover, and then there's supposed to be a screw for it, but I took the screw out. There's a little lock latch here. You slide that to unlocked, and then this whole thing slides. Forget if it's backwards or forwards. It's one of these directions. I think it slides backwards. There it is. Yeah, it's just a pain in the butt. It just slides backwards. There. So this thing's wild. Have a gander at that. Look at all that stuff in there. Yo! We've got an E key, M.2 for a Wi-Fi card. We've got two SATA M.2 ports. Yes, they're both SATA. They include the standoffs and the posts for these. 2 sticks of RAM. What is in this thing? It's probably just 8 gigs. Yeah, 2 sticks of 4 gigs. I believe that is dual channel though. So of course, being embedded Carrizo, it's got Radeon graphics built in. I think it's built around GCN3. And I think this one's got the larger version, so like 384 stream processors. So it should be able to game. Maybe. Let's throw an SSD in here and see what it does. I'm most curious if Nobara will even work on this thing. Well, that one's a hex driver. Screw you. Yep, hang on. Let me get my iFixit kit here. I think it's a hex driver. Oh, it's right here. Silly me thinking I put something away where it's supposed to be. That should be about the right size. That's too small. Probably wasn't too small. It's probably too large. What the heck does this use? Okay. It uses some weird kind of hex screw. Is it actually Torx? Maybe it's actually Torx. That is entirely possible. Oh yeah, no, that's Torx. 100% that's Torx. Okay. Let's get this out of here. What we're going to do... I'm extremely curious to see how Nobara works on there. This should be very interesting. It's got a little notch in the side of this thing. There we go. SSD is in. Should be fun. I think Nobara is going to have a real fun time booting up on this hardware. You want me to start on a what? What is this hardware you gave me? Put the top over here. And get the DC power adapter. Ethernet. All of the USB ports on this one are black, so I have no idea if any of them are USB 3 or USB 2 or what. Okay, video does thankfully have normal display port. You know when you pick up one of these and you're looking at the ports on the back and it's got DVI ports or a VGA port on it, it's like, oh boy, that's an old one. Oh, we have a super chat. Thank you, Clarjan, for the super chat. Clarjan says, here, have an actual headline I found from the BBC. Greg's sorry for swapping Jesus for sausage roll in nativity scene. Thank you. I'll give you a heart on that one. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Oh, Synthgal asks, what is the difference between a nettop and a thin client? I have an Acer Aspire Revo that's taking up space, but if I can turn it into a bed screen setup with the correct Linux, I might try again. They're basically the same thing. Like a nettop, a netbook, a thin client, they're all basically based around the same processors. They're all the embedded processors. The thin clients and the nettops should use the slightly higher grade processors. They'll have, higher TDP levels. They'll have higher performance. Theoretically, none of these things are fast, but they'll have the higher performance levels than like the netbook versions or the I guess that turned into convertible and tablet market. But yeah, they're all basically the same. The desktop nettop versions might have, you might get lucky and have like PCI Express slots in there. This one's nice because this E key is actual PCI Express, so you could pull this out into something else. I don't know what else you'd want to run in there because the thing's terrible. I'm sure we're gonna see this. We're gonna see this CPU bottleneck its internal graphics. I'm positive. But the thought's there. There are some slightly more expensive thin clients and like embedded desktop computers that have some more interesting specs in them, but they are of course a little more expensive. I think I probably said that already. They're usually newer, things that run like the Intel N100 processor, which is basically the E cores from Alder Lake, just stuffed onto a system on chip. N100 is pretty great. The previous generation to that, I think, is the N6000 or J6000 series, or like the N5105, I think it is. Those are the Tremont cores. Those are also pretty good. They're generally speaking about like 4th gen i5 in performance level. The one we just looked at obviously was one generation prior to that, which was, I'm going to forget what that was. Gemini Lake. I don't remember what the cores are called. Gracemont, maybe? Maybe they're Gracemont? I don't remember. Kind of hot garbage. And anything older than that, of course, older and older you go, the slower they are. The first generation of Intel Atoms that had out-of-order execution and were actually like capable of doing real work were the Bay Trail Atoms. I think that was... It was not... I don't think it was Silvermont. It was something like that. It was one of those that came out with the Bay Trail. Intel's naming for these things is awful. They have a core name. They have a code name for the desktop versions, for the mobile versions, for the embedded versions. They all get different code names. Bay Trail is the code name for like the mobile version. So if you ever looked at like the Asus what was it, the ebook? The convertible, the super old 10-inch convertible. You'd open it up and you can hit a button on it and it would pop off the tablet version, off of the keyboard. All the compute was in the tablet. It had like eMMC inside the tablet body. Of course, it was the screen and everything, capacitive touchscreen. That was Bay Trail. And then that was basically the first version of the Atom that was useful for anything. They've gotten a little better over the years. N100 is actually pretty good. It's a roughly Skylake in performance, which is not bad, honestly, to get in like a 5 or 10 watt package. This ain't that. So this is AMD, obviously. This is when they were trying to do, they really only had either the Jaguar cores that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, which were kind of hot garbage, or they had Bulldozer cores that they could, pull the TDP down on undervolt and underclock. And that's what this is. That's what this whole mess here is. So TDP on this is a little over 16 watts. It's a 2-module, 4-thread Bulldozer. It uses the excavator cores. And like I said, I think GCN3. It basically makes it embedded Carrizo. This thin client, T630 from HP, kind of interesting because of how much internal expansion there is. You don't usually see these have this much internal expansion. 2 RAM slots, 2 SATA SSD slots, an M.2 E key for PCI Express. I think it's 2 lanes, but it's still PCI Express. And this little silver nugget here, if I turn this up, you can see that is an internal USB 3 port, in case you either, if you're using this in a legitimate manner, you can plug in like a dongle for software that you're running on it for security stuff, or, if you're doing what I'm doing to it and doing horrific things to it, you can plug in a USB stick in here and boot it off of there. It will boot off that port. So, yeah, it's a weird little machine. Let's find out if it's worth its salt in any kind of performance whatsoever. Let's see, we'll switch over to 16:9. There we go. And I have not fired this thing up yet. I hope it works. We're going to find out on stream if I let out the magic smoke. Oh, I should probably plug the power adapter into actual power. That's my problem. Oh, that needs a Mickey Mouse cable. Where's my Mickey Mouse cable? It's the exact same one I just pulled out of there. Should be plugged into. Oh yeah, it's plugged into this. Get out of there. Things are going well. I'm a professional. Okay. Power's in. I got a blink. Hopefully that's a good sign. We're going to start with Novara and see what it does. I don't have high hopes for this, honestly. Let's see what it does. See if it boots at all. There is a light on. It's a good sign. That's a good sign too. Okay, so we've got TPM enabled. So let's get into BIOS. Turn off the TPM. See if this will boot. Barninator says Carrizo is GCN 2, unfortunately. Alright, well. For crying out loud. Alright, let's get into the BIOS. Get out of here. Give me that BIOS. Give me that BIOS. Awesome. Okay. Security. Secure boot. Yes. Legacy support. Let's turn on. Okay, secure boot off. Legacy on. I don't think we need legacy support, but let's turn it on anyway. Clear secure boot keys. Okay, let's see what that does. Hopefully this will get us a boot. So we get some info on this thing. So there we go. This is the embedded G series GX420Gi. 2 gigahertz. That's how far down they had to clock this thing to get it to fit in 16 watts. 2 gigahertz. But we've got 8 gigs of DDR4 1866. Yikes. At least it's dual channel. Yikes, 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 yikes. Okay, well, let's save changes and exit and see if it'll boot. I hate secure boot so much. SynthGal has an Ion. Very nice. So the NVIDIA Ion was a very interesting... Hey, look at that. It's booting. Nice. So the NVIDIA Ion is a really interesting chipset. It was sort of NVIDIA's attempt to hot rod the early Intel Atoms. I mean early. So this is in order Atom. So this is pre-Bay Trail. But they were kind of the first, you know, like, ooh, look at this. It's like made for home theater PC. The only real problem with it is, I mean, the Atom is awful. An Atom 330 is not a great processor, but the hardware video decode acceleration on it is pretty much non-existent. I think it'll do MPEG-2 and, excuse me, maybe like old MPEG-4, like DivX. No H.264, no H.265, nothing like that. That's probably the biggest hurdle to like getting one of those things to run nowadays as a home theater PC. However, I did a video, God, like 2 years ago now, where I took a look at my own Intel Atom that I have, or my own NVIDIA Ion system that I have, and it turns out it makes a pretty decent Windows XP retro gaming PC, because that GeForce 9400M that's on the chipset is actually pretty okay for running games from like the XP era, at least the early XP era. And there's drivers available for everything in the system usually, because they're old enough. That's like a lot of people would take these machines from Vista because they ship with Vista, and they downgrade them to XP. So it's actually kind of a cool little sleeper Windows XP gaming PC. Okay, so we are in Nobara pretty much without any issues. I need to plug my game controller back in. But that booted up really with no complaints. Get that into... in there. Of course, these are upside down too. That makes sense. Oh, she laggy. Oh boy. So if I do... well, it's not so bad. Once it actually, like, caches what it's doing, it's not so bad. Actually, this is a little snappier than it was on the Pentium. Probably because the graphics hardware is a little more capable. I'm super curious. What is this gonna do? On validating. Yeah, exactly. I hope you have fun with it, because the little ions are pretty cool. For like that specific use case, like making a little like tiny, silent, like sleeper Windows XP gaming PC, they're fantastic. Burninator bets this will run Skyrim 720p just fine. I hope so. I really hope so. So this has the R7E integrated graphics, which should be it should be the largest set of integrated graphics that these got. So 384 stream processors. I'm going to stop it from processing Vulkan shaders because it's so slow. Slow and boring. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, once again, things has been freshly installed. Medium quality. That's more like it. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna set the same settings I did on the Pentium. See what happens. Oh, the mouse cursor is way more responsive. Ultra. Thank you. 4xAA. No anti-aliasing, or 4xAF. No anti-aliasing. Ultra settings. Let's go. Francois setting up radio shows. Well, it sounds like fun. Though he says he needs the shower, so maybe it's not that fun. If you didn't know, you can screw with the Skyrim loading screen by messing with the controls. Oh, it's the Tai Chi. Yeah, no, that would do it. The Tai Chi would do it. Yeah, that would be a reason to shower. Absolutely. Well, that gives us a whopping 12 FPS instead of 9. It is technically better, but it's still quite bad. The latency is way less, surprisingly. You could, if you were a masochist, you could play this. It's not like literally a full second between when you press the stick and it actually goes. It's like a half a second. Oh. Burninator asks, is the RAM running at 2133? No, it's running at 1866 because it's a thin client and you can't change that. Faster RAM would definitely help the onboard Radeon graphics. It's surprising though. I mean, it's not good, but it's surprising how much it's able to do. All right, let's see. I'm also very curious if this will run anything else, because the Pentium wouldn't. Like, I've got Redout on here, like the original Redout Enhanced Edition, which is a super easy game to run. And the Pentium just wouldn't do it. Oh, let's see. This is running DDR4. And to go stare at the RAM stick, but it does say PC4. Is it the right speed? PC4 2666? Doesn't seem right, does it? Oh, stop processing the Vulkan shapers. Let's go. Run the game. So this will actually do anything this time. Francois. Games on tape. Oh my gosh. That brings back memories, mostly bad memories. Oh, I can actually interact with the menu. I mean, it's 6 FPS, but I can actually interact with the menu. Wow. Let's change some options. What is this running for video? Good lord, this is slow. $720p. Oh, everything's on Epic, that's why. Wow. Let's go. Oh, I can't roll over to the right. Okay. Let's go off. Well, that's immediately better. Turn off all the anti-aliasing. Okay, let's see what this does. I've not played this, so I don't have anything unlocked. I guess we're gonna do Cairo. I would say that the shaders are not working correctly. Something tells me the shaders are not working quite correctly. Wow, that certainly looks like a game under all that slowdown. This is bad. I mean, at least it's running it. Like, the Pentium wouldn't even do this. I couldn't even interact with the main menu on the Pentium. So that's something. It's still a slideshow, though. It's definitely not, not ideal. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Let's see how this does with video. I don't think it's going to do great. But, you know, I didn't think it was going to do great at the gaming either. So, yes, go back. Thank you, and quit. All right. Let's go to the desktop mode and see. See what we get. Yeah, so Burninator says it's some kind of driver or other issue. So we're running this on Linux through DXVK and Proton, which is definitely not really meant for, you know, GCN2. Like it's GCN 1.2, GCN 3. If you count GCN 1 as GCN 1.0, GCN 2 is 1.1, GCN 3 is 1.2, whatever. They're all basically the same. However, Nobara and Proton and DXVK are all really set up for doing their translation layer magic over, you know, Polaris or newer. So GCN4, GCN5, RDNA, stuff like that. Not Carrizo integrated graphics. Okay, let's see what this does. That is loading up in VLC, which I did not ask it to do. Hi, can you open with the one I told you to do before? Thank you. Unsurprisingly, working fine, as one would hope. (1080p 60). That doesn't look like 60 FPS to me. Let's see if we can enable hardware acceleration. Oh, did that do it? It's gonna be a bit till we have some actual action to see if it's actually 60 FPS or not. I don't think it is. Let's see what System Monitor says for CPU usage. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be pretty high. Again though, like playing a video and mousing through the menus, pretty snappy. Well, we're not maxing out the CPUs. So maybe we do have some hardware acceleration in here. That's interesting. I might be using an embedded bulldozer for my home theater PC. I really thought I was going to use the Pentium. Dang. So let's try the big one. 4K 60. Alright, so very bad, we're at 100% CPU usage. Now what if we do Control H? Oh, look at that! Look at that CPU usage! What is this? I mean, it's not 60 FPS, but like, it's definitely trying. That's really cool. Interesting. That's really interesting. Huh. Well then. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Let's put Windows on this thing and see how bad it is. That's kind of impressive. I was really sandbagging the embedded bulldozer, but that's not bad. That's not bad. Power's off. Get this SSD out of there. Now let's see if everything falls apart, huh? Really interesting how much expansion there is on this thing. Alright, power on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there was definitely something go on. The 4K version that I have on there is H.265. So it definitely, I mean, I don't think it can do 4K 60 H.265, but there was definitely acceleration going on. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Now for Windows to freak out. There we go. That was a very short freak out. The H.264 acceleration on that was pretty solid. Pretty darn solid. So see what Windows can do. I want to at least throw OG Skyrim on here and see what it'll do. Because I think you're right. I mean, trying to run these games through, through Nobara and through Proton and through DXVK, it's not what GCN3 was really meant for. Gotta tell Windows a couple of times I don't want Windows 11. I would love to see it try and install Windows 11 on this thing. That would be funny. Lots of command windows opening up. Nice. Always the mark of a quality operating system. It's probably going to be a little bit, as I imagine it's installing drivers for literally everything right now. Oh yeah. It's having a time. Oh boy. So I think if you're looking for something a little more recent, there's a lot of embedded Ryzen options out there that'd be pretty decent because you get Vega graphics and of course you get Ryzen CPU cores, even if they're downclocked a lot to hit the 15 or 20 or 35 watt TDPs that they're going for. Or the Intel N100. It's been making waves. Like if you've been watching like ETA Prime, the N100s are pretty capable little E-core based machines. But of course, if you like performing hardware necromancy like me, you really can't beat the value proposition of these old thin clients. Because I think this one was $20. Nobody wants these things. Can you believe nobody wants them? Yeah, there you go. Burninator says there's 6-watt versions that have Vega 3 graphics. I don't know if I'd go for Vega 3, but that's the ones with like Vega 7, Vega 8 are not so bad. They make pretty reasonable little gaming machines. Alright, so let's get, while this thing's doing Windows updates and driver installs, let's get Steam installed in here. I have a couple of emulators on this thing. And most of them don't run great, if I'm being honest. They might, I don't know, they might run a little better on this. But like emulators almost never are GPU bound, like they're almost always CPU bound because you're emulating a whole system. Which is partially why like the N100 embedded systems do so well with like emulation stuff, because their CPU performance is pretty good. The GPU's not spectacular, but they don't have to be. But yeah, like this should run a like Sega Genesis 32X emulator just fine. Let's see. Thank you, Windows, for changing my desktop background. It's very important. I'm gonna guess it doesn't like doing this while it's doing Windows updates, probably. But like, yeah, it runs fine. As if that was even a question. Like, it's a Genesis emulator. Even with the SVP chip and being emulated, it's fine. These things are way fast enough for 16-bit systems. I sure hope this doesn't take super long. What I should have done is I should have put the Windows 10 SSD in this thing while we were screwing around with Nobara on the Pentium. Would have made a lot more sense. Metalhead, yeah. Burdinator, did you install Adrenaline drivers yet? Oh, my sweet summer child, we have nothing right now. Windows is currently freaking out and auto-installing like chipset drivers and blah blah blah. Once that's done, then yes, I will get Adrenaline drivers installed in here. I think I've got them already downloaded. Maybe? Maybe. Yep, here it is. I've got the Adrenaline drivers already downloaded. We'll get them. We'll get them. Once Windows is finished. Hey, Bacchus is here. Hello. Welcome to the stream. We are doing... Basically, the last thing of the night is we're running Windows 10. It's quite warm, actually. The little heatsink here is quite warm. Running Windows 10 on Embedded Bulldozer. This is, as far as we can figure out, probably Carrizo. It's excavator cores and GCN, probably GCN3, GCN 1.2. It's actually going better than I thought it was going to. Nobara Linux actually runs pretty nicely on it. It's still very slow, though. So, we're going to try out some stuff on Windows 10 here real quick. Well, I say real quick. As quickly as this is going to let us. Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's me. If you missed the earlier experimentations with this Pentium Silver based thin client, let's get the right mouse. If I can use the right mouse. There we go. Go back to the desk cam so you can see this thing in all of its glory. This thing's wild. We've got 2 spots for 2 SATA SSDs. So 2 SATA M.2 drives. 2 dual channel DDR4 on here. It's not running like particularly amazing DDR4 right now, but hey, dual channel DDR4. This is an M.2 E key for a wireless module, which of course being an E key means you can get 2 PCI Express lanes out of that and do whatever you want with it. Also, this thing right here looks. Oh, we're doing the built-in Windows graphics driver, but this little guy here is a USB 3 port that sticks out this direction, so you can plug a USB stick into this thing and boot it off of that. It is wild. This little guy is the Pentium Silver J5005. Another thin client. This one's from Dell. This one previously used at the U.S. Department of Commerce. I just picked this thing up on eBay for like $30. I did not expect it to come from, you know, the from Capitalism Incorporated, but such is the way of things when you buy old, used components. The weird part is that that Dell, I looked up its service tag on Dell's website, and it's got like extended support coverage until August of 2025. It's wild. The thing's still under support contract, and somehow it wound up on eBay. Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get embedded Ryzen, like Burninator's saying here. You can get the Lenovo, what is it, the M715? Yeah, M715Q Gen 2 with the Ryzen 2400 GE. Bare for $40, which is not bad. These things are they arrived as we're seeing them here. They didn't come with any storage, but they came with the RAM that was installed in them, so each of these has 8 gigs of RAM in them. And, you know, this is $25, I think. The other one was $30. Not too bad. Not too bad. Trina does not trust Dell thin clients. Something fishy with the Dell. Can't tell what it is. I don't know. Stuff like this ends up on eBay all the time. It's not a huge deal. The Dell would actually kind of be really interesting. The thing we didn't talk about on the Dell, underneath that SATA slot that I had the SSD in, there's 32 gigs of onboard eMMC flash, and it still works. And I'm going to try and put Haiku on that. I'm going to try it. The last time I tried it, like on Friday, yesterday when I was prepping for stream, I wanted to put Haiku on this thing on the internal flash. I couldn't get it to work, but I'm going to try again, because the problem with it was it basically Haiku white screened and said it couldn't find the boot device for the USB drive, so it doesn't recognize one of the USB controllers on this thing. So I'm going to try it again, plug the USB stick into a different drive or into a different port on this, and see if I can get Haiku on this thing. I think that'd be pretty great. This would make a perfect tiny 10-watt Haiku machine. Don't even have to install a disk in it. It's got 32 gigs of eMMC right on the board. Trina says no, for once I don't trust the seller, not the Dell. That's pretty good. For once. Oh. See if this will let me in. There we go. Steam password. No, that's the thing. Bacchus is saying it might be a driver issue. It couldn't find the boot device when booting off of a USB. So it couldn't. I had it plugged into the USB 3 on the front. So I'm guessing it's either it needs to be plugged into the USB 2 on the front, or it needs to be plugged into the USB 3 on the back of the machine. It just didn't have the time to like troubleshoot another Haiku install. I will do it. I will put Haiku on this thing because it would be hilarious. What are you? What? Okay. Let's go, Steam. So the downside is, because we're doing it live, Windows needs to install drivers, because now it's no longer running on an Intel Gemini Lake, system on a chip. Now it's running on, AMD embedded Carrizo. and it's having a time about it. Boy, is it having a time about it. This is one of the bad parts about running a bulldozer system, is that it runs great for a little while, and then something tries to install, and it just pegs all the CPU cores and nothing happens. It just sits there for who knows how long. Oh, I just hope this won't last for super, super long. What is using up all of our CPU? Oh my god, can you not, like, load every single window? Thank you. Searchapp.exe. And service host, that's most definitely Windows updates. Taking it sweet, sweet time. Well, let's see, do I have a CPU-Z on here? Let's take a look at this CPU. Did I remember to put that on here? I did. Run GPU-Z real quick. When Windows is installing updates, nothing is real quick. No! Trina says, first 8-hour stream. No. We're not doing an 8-hour stream of nothing but bulldozer installing drivers. If this doesn't finish up here soon, I'm just gonna hang it up for the night. Alright, let's see. I think I have CPU-Z installed on here. I typed CPU. I'm just waiting for Windows to figure it out. Yeah. I guess it's embedded Bristol Ridge. I don't know. It's one of the two. The thing is I don't think it's Excavator Plus. And actually, if you look, it says GPU is Carrizo. It actually calls the GPU Carrizo, which is kind of funny. And yeah, it's DDR4. You did say just a few minutes ago that Carrizo has DDR3 and DDR4 memory controllers, and this is running DDR4, so I don't know. Do I have CPU-Z installed? I thought I had it installed. I have not installed it yet. Awesome. Let's do that. Yeah, no, that's the actual answer. AMD can't make up their mind. They have so many stupid versions of this stuff. It's all the same stuff except like 200 megahertz difference in core and boost clocks. Again, like this was what I wanted to get a couple of weeks ago. Was this with the GX 420 GI? And because of their stupid naming scheme, because of AMD's ridiculous naming scheme, I ended up with a GX 424, which is not the same thing at all. It's not even close. It's Jaguar. It's not even embedded bulldozer. Okay, CPU-Z. What does CPU-Z say? Yeah, there we go. So it's Brown Falcon. That's the actual code name of it because it's the embedded version. Because again, they have to have another stupid name for it. And this says the TDP is 15 watts, not 16 watts, like it's listed on Wikipedia. Ah. So yeah, we're doing 1866 for the DDR, unfortunately. What does it say for number of, 384 unified shaders. 8 ROPs, 24 TMUs. Like, it's not terrible. It's not like super high-end graphics in it at all, but it's not the worst. Exactly. Ah. 2010s, Charlotte says 2010s AMD budget, 99% code names, 1% floating point units. Exactly. Exactly. Oh yeah, and yeah, Burninator says at least it's not a Ryzen AI Pro HX 365. Yeah, right. That's a mouthful. Ugh. You done yet? Or reboot this thing in the hopes that it's going to stop trying to install things. Tarina says at least it's not brown pants. Oh. Yeah, Bacchus says the CPU calmed down somewhat. I think it's mostly because it's probably overheating. My heatsink's quite warm. I should probably put a fan on it. I don't think it appreciates actually running fanless. Hey, there you go. Burninator says I still have an A12 9800E Lenovo Mini thing. It's been in a box. I've inspired them to break it out and mess with it. Go for it. How bad could it be? Okay. Let's see if I can really quickly get these. I've got chipset drivers and I've got um, adrenaline drivers. Man, Nobara was a breath of fresh air versus this. Oh, nice. Bacchus is on Christmas vacation already. Very nice. I don't think my plan worked. I think it's still, it's still doing stuff. Oh, Windows, 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 Windows. Oh, Bacchus. Oh, there we go. It's it's doing a virus scan. Thanks, Windows. Definitely what I need right now. Please overload this tiny, cheap SATA SSD with virus scans of a system that has not done anything in 24 hours. Let's turn off Defender for a bit. Oh, Cynthia, I hope you're feeling better. That sounds unfun. 2 years of medical leave. I don't want Windows Update. Why did I click that? Go away. I want... God, this UI is awful. What? Defender. Thank you. Just absolutely awful. Oh, that was actually what I wanted. Nice. Thank you. Where is my real-time? Scan options? No. Where did they hide the real-time? Manage settings? Yes, there we go. Real-time off. Yes, really. For God's sake, give me my SSD back. Let's see. I've got Afterburn on here too. We'll just load it down with some more stuff to do. It's not fast, but at least it's doing it. Ooh, should I install Norton 360 for gamer? Probably not. That sounds like something I would never ever want. Ever. The only 360 I want is an Xbox 360. Yeah, exactly. Bacchus says they have Norton 360 for gamer. That'll make it even faster. The 360 is for miles per hour. Yes, Norton 360 for gamer. Just the one gamer. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can get Redout installed on here. And maybe if I'm lucky, Skyrim as well. Install. Local drive. And Skyrim. Install. Local drive. Alright. Let that go on in the background. So yeah, Trina says I just re-enabled uBlock on YouTube and it's playing videos again. I turned everything off and reset my user agent, and I was able to watch was able to watch a Dank Pods video. So apparently they've decided to let me watch videos again. But we're still moving to Twitch. I think it's going to be more fun, honestly, because I can do more integrations into my OBS layout with like Twitch chat. So we can do weird stuff. I think it's going to be fun. The integrations for YouTube aren't quite as robust. Yes, Synthgal. I am running uBlock Origin. uBlock Origin, Sponsor Block, Consentomatic, and User Agent Spoofer. Because at one point I had to spoof my user agent on Firefox on YouTube to Chromium, or it wouldn't run videos at all for me. Which I thought was just like what was going on the last 24 hours, but believe me, I played with my user agent a whole lot and nothing happened, nothing fixed it. Oh, good. I'm doing the DirectX installer. Quad 9 DNS, having trouble with Outlook synchronization. That's a good question. I route my DNS through my Home Assistant for basically a Pi-hole. I think it uses Quad 9. Let me double check. Although I don't use Outlook. So I guess that's not any help to you. Let's see. Yeah, AdGuard Home goes through DNS10.quad9. It's been working okay. Although again, like I said, I don't use Outlook, so. No, I'm not running OG uBlock. Nope. I don't have that much control. John asks, if you're already running Pi-hole, why not run a full recursive resolver locally? I don't have that much control over my home network, unfortunately. I'm going to change that once I move, but at the moment, I don't have that much control over my home network. Gutbomb asks, did YouTube start working or are you flying blind? It looks like it's working. Looks like it's working. And for whatever reason, I don't think the live stream interface was ever affected. But yeah, no, I was able to watch a DankPods video before I started the stream. So apparently they decided, oh yeah, you should probably be able to watch videos. Since you're, a creator on the platform. I'm just a little bit bitter about it, just a little. Oh boy, ain't that the truth. Microsoft always comes up with new ways to surprise us with how bad they can be. Boy, that is 100% true. God. My whole workplace moved from Google Apps to Microsoft 365, and it's been awful. It's been absolutely awful. And like Google Apps wasn't great to begin with, so like it's gone from bad to worse. So that big nasty progress bar for DirectX for the DirectX installer was just the download. I think we're maxing out this $12 SSD right now. Yeah, it's having a bad time. Oh boy. Gut Bomb is here. Gut Bomb says, my condolences to you for having to use Teams. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We went from Zoom to Teams. So like, ouch. Ouch, ouch. Uh-oh. I just got a big, I was just saying everything is working fine, and I just got a big yellow error bar from YouTube. Hang on. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I'm pretty sure that's because there's not a lot going on the screen, YouTube. I am streaming, I'm uploading an H.265, so it's got like, it looks for a particular amount of bitrate from you, and running H.265 means I frequently go below that if there's not a whole lot on screen. It looks like we did drop some frames in there at some point. Dropped like 2,000 frames, but I don't know when that was. Apologies. My internet provider is hot garbage. Okay, so let's get this thing to load at Windows Startup. Thank you. I made that mistake a couple of streams ago. And let's get stuff on the on-screen display. So I want... Why are there 2 GPUs on this? Why does it think it has 2 GPUs? Is that just the 2 display ports? Does it think it has 2 GPUs because there's 2 display ports on it? What? Just do GPU 1. I think it's the only one that's going to matter. Usage. I don't want the memory clock. I want the... Get the memory usage? Well, it won't tell me. Oh, when I was doing 2 installs at once, it kind of glitched out, but nothing serious. Okay, that's good. Galarjan one says Teams is just Skype in a trench coat. It really is. Oh. Let's do both of these. Because apparently I don't really care about memory usage, it's the iGPU. CPU usage. And we want frame rate. That's the get out of my face. I hate these giant. The thing about Afterburner, right? Like you have these just gigantic tooltip that pops up over this, like trying to explain absolutely everything in here. Like, oh, you can use Shift to like select multiple. Like, go away. If I want help, I'll click the help button. Oh wait, never mind. You grayed that out because you have a giant tooltip instead. Ugh, God. Perish. Alright, show an on-screen display text and graph. So we've got frame rate and frame time, and some usage statistics that are probably not going to be super useful. Can I get, like, combined CPU? Yeah, so there's combined CPU usage, that's fine. GPU usage of GPU 1 and 2, although I don't think there's more than one. I think that might be... It might be thinking that there's 2 because of the 2 displays. I don't know. I sure hope not. Okay. How's the CPU looking? We're still doing something. What on earth is this thing doing? Oh, Steam's downloading. That makes sense. That's good. Continue that, Steam. Looks like Skyrim is up and done. And we're just getting through Redout. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. We are getting there. We should have games soon. The Samsung Simp is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. They say, thanks for reminding me that I have to uninstall Teams, because it got installed in an update. Yeah, isn't that great? Here, have some free Microsoft Teams. It's like someone handing you a bunch of turds on a platter. Here, look, it's free. Can you not? That is incredible autocorrect. Is Redoubt good in VR? I haven't tested it in VR yet. Stuff like this generally will make me basically just lose my lunch. I can't play racing games in VR. Redoubt, that's great. I love it. Yeah, Kalarjan says I'll take being given free Teams over free Copilot. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. At least Teams can be useful sometimes for getting things done. Right? Yes, Gut Bomb says Microsoft updates sound like flu variants. I've got a bad case of 24H2. I've been nursing 22H2 for a while now. Starting to get used to it. Ooh, hell yeah. Synthgal says I need to get some lenses for my Acer Windows Mixed Reality headset to play VR stuff again. Just a reminder, if I don't know what version of Windows you're on, if you're on Windows, but Microsoft removed support for WMR in 24H2. Just FYI. On Windows 11. So there is like 80% working drivers for it in Linux under, I'm going to mispronounce this, Monado, I think? They've got most of it working, which is pretty cool. So you can keep using them and just have to get VR running in Linux. I'm planning on covering that in a video. I have like 3 big videos in the works right now. It's the Voodoo 5 video, the wrap-up video for Cheap PC Challenge for this year, which I still haven't done, and I feel really burnt about it. And then I want to do a cheap VR video before I move, which is going to be about like $100 PC VR headsets. And like putting together an entire PC VR system for less than the price of a whole Quest 2 or whatever. Yeah, Gutbomb says that's the dumbest move ever. Why remove a feature? Here's what I think. I think because that got rushed out to market so fast, I think Microsoft licensed a bunch of code that they use inside the Windows Mixed Reality runtime. So a WMR headset is like really kind of ingeniously simple. Like it's got an internal, an IMU, internal measurement unit for like, accelerometer to do pitch and roll and whatever. And it's got 2 cameras so that it can figure out where it is in your room, right? But they're literally just cameras. They're 2 black and white, visual light cameras. And all that data gets piped over the USB 3 cable back to the PC. And the PC does all the calculations. There's no calculations happen on the headset. It's part of the reason WMR is so comfortable. There's hardly anything in it. There's 2 displays and 2 cameras, and that's it. It's mostly empty air. But that means the PC's got to do the computer vision and tracking the room and figuring out where the headset is in free space and tracking the controllers with their visible light LEDs. And I think, my guess, the reason they removed the feature is that they licensed a bunch of code from someone else to get all that stuff working, and they don't want to pay the license fee anymore. That's my guess. Like, it's the only reason they'd pull a feature like that. You can still run, like, Windows 3.1 apps with some, finagling in Windows 11. Like, Microsoft is famous for leaving legacy stuff in their operating system. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that with Windows Mixed Reality, and I think it's because there's licensed code in there, and they don't want to pay the license fee for it anymore. That's my guess. I will bet you that's why. Alright, so the Steam downloads are done. We can try doing some drivers, but we are still using a lot of CPU for some reason. Service host doing something. Sorta? It says 76% idle. What is using all the CPU? Oh, now of course it's no longer using CPU. Oh no, we're definitely installing things now. Look at that disk use. Oh boy. Oh boy. System is using the disk. Nice. God, I love Windows. Disk defragmenter? It's an SSD, you pile of crap. What are you doing? This operating system, I tell ya. Disk defragmenter? What? Well, okay, it's decided it's gonna trim the drive right now. Apparently. It does recognize it as an SSD, so it's doing the trim pass on it, but it has decided to do it right this second, right now. Are you kidding me? Stop. Just stop. Needs optimization. Ooh, how many is that? 213 million days since last run. I think it's probably okay. It's probably fine. Good lord. Oh, this operating system, I swear. God. Okay, I think we're finally done. I think we're finally done with all the bullshit. So let's get some drivers installed and start up the bullshit again. Oh god. Okay, so this should be, yeah, there's chipset software. Let's go. Unbelievable. I'm going to turn off my... Should have done this before, but settings. I'm going to turn off my Toasts notifications so you don't have to see all my friends get into VR without me. Notifications. No toasts. Never. Okay. Okay. Oh, Steve's here. Hello, Steve. Steve Mac84. Be right back. Gotta go defragment my 40 megabyte SCSI drive. How's it going, Steve? How are you doing tonight? And why on earth have you tuned into this horrific display of computer violation? Recovering from sickness, so maybe that's to blame. Yeah, there you go. You can't feel worse than installing, Steam on a bulldozer, right? So it's fine. That'll make you feel better about your sickness. I hope you're feeling better. Synth gal. Horrific display of computer violation is my gender. Oh boy. Chipset drivers. Indeed. By the way, this is not my shirt. This is, I mean, it is obviously my shirt. I'm wearing my own shirt, but I bought this from Eric's Edge. If you're not familiar with Eric's Edge, hop over to his channel, have a look at his programming HyperCard series. He's also done some interesting stuff. He's trying to make a game. He's trying to make an adventure game in HyperCard, and he sells this terrific shirt over there. It's pretty great. Alright, so it wants me to restart. Let's see if I can get the graphics drivers in before the restart. Hopefully. Don't have to reboot twice. It would be nice. Let's go! Yeah, I mean, it was just bad all around, you know? The Johnny Janks is, why does AMD have to name their CPUs after heavy machinery, which are obviously slow? There's a lot of mistakes made. A lot of mistakes made. So yeah, being that this is a thin client, this is an embedded processor, right? You don't get the Adrenaline drivers, you get the Pro drivers, which are mostly the same. Hopefully it doesn't like turn on HTCP on me, but I think, because I've got an EDID injector on this thing, I don't think it'll turn on HTCP on us, so we should still be able to see the screen after installing these. Yeah, many mistakes were made. Many mistakes were made in the creation of Bulldozer. Not least of which was the naming scheme. Heavy equipment cores. Construction cores to make them sound better. Oh. Alright, Bacchus is on his way out. Have a good night, Bacchus. Hope you get some good sleep, and I'll see you later. Thanks for the well wishes. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Whew. Yeah, that's a warm heatsink. Yes, indeed. I'm so glad they came up with Ryzen because it was looking like AMD wasn't going to exist for a while. Oh, it's bad news when a company like sells their office and then rents it back from the people they sell it to. That's when you know they're really strapped for cash. By the way, Intel recently sold their office and is renting it back. What on earth happened over there? I want to coin a new term. It's when you get somebody who's very boisterous, acts like they know what they're doing, and then screws everything up. I want to call it getting Gelsingered. Can we make that the thing? Can we make getting Gelsingered a thing? Yes, this is true. Trina says, if anyone would like to donate me an Appalisa, I would be good with that. And Steve says, Trina, you need an Appalisa like I need another dozen broken laser printers. Doing a Captain Taylor. um, I'm not sure. Synthgal asked if I plan on doing any hardware upgrades on this thing, and I don't know. At the moment, we haven't seen what it can do for gaming under Windows. It's surprisingly capable under Nobaru. I mean, obviously, it's not fast, but the video playback was quite good. Um, I'm curious to see what it does under Windows, and I'm definitely curious to see like if the gaming performance is anything close to better. Um, these little embedded APUs should be able to run games at like 720p or whatever. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will, once we get all these drivers installed. See there, exactly. Exactly. Charlotte says, I totally Gelsingered the back of some jeans recently, expecting my bum would still fit in them. Precisely, you got it in one. That's exactly how the expression works. Okay, almost there. We're almost there. Don't get Gelsingered. You'll be fine if you just don't Gelsinger it up. Okay, drivers are installed. Let's reboot this thing and see what happens. Fingers crossed. So far, I've been pretty pleasantly surprised with this little embedded bulldozer. It shouldn't be this fast. Let's get some air moving over that heatsink. It's a little warm. It's a little warm. That might be the only mod I make to it, honestly. Synthgal, I might like see if I can figure something out with a 3D print that puts a fan on here to just pull air out of the thing. I feel like it needs it. It is bulldozer after all. I did. John asked if I had a chance to check out the Chips and Cheese article about bulldozer. I did read it briefly. I didn't have a whole lot of time to like read it end to end, but very helpfully, there was a block diagram in there, which I think explains what we were seeing with that FX 4200. Um, the the load store units at the very bottom of the block diagram. So you've got the head end of the chip where you do fetch and decode, and then you've got dispatch, and then you've got the 2 integer units and the floating point unit. And then at the bottom you've got instruction retire, and write out to memory. Connections to level 2 cache, level 1 cache, level 1 data cache, stuff like that. And I think what we saw, I think the way they did this, which is still wild to me that they would do this to a chip to bin it this way. But I think they peeled off the left side. If you look at that block diagram, there's the integer unit on the left side doesn't share really anything with anything else on the system, on the module. Whereas the integer unit on the right side of the diagram does, if the block diagram is accurate, it suggests that it shares the load store unit at the bottom, one of the load store units, with the floating point unit. So those are kind of inseparable. The other one, however, completely independent. I think that's the one that they eliminated. on that chip, where and that was the way that they got 4 modules and 4 threads. And that would also explain, because that would cut down on dispatch and retire, as well as it would cut down level 1 cache. So that would explain the weird performance, the weird performance irregularities we were seeing out of it. Like, stripping out one of those integer units doesn't just strip out the integer unit. You lose a bunch of memory bandwidth and a bunch of dispatch bandwidth when you do that. And I think that's why, I mean, it certainly points to why AMD architected it that way, but I think that's mostly what they did. And that's why we were seeing the weird performance numbers that we were seeing. Especially in Redout 2, where we were seeing minimum FPSs that were, half of what Bulldozer or what the full Vishera core was doing, and then maximum FPSs that were basically identical, right? Like, that makes sense. If we don't have all of our dispatch, out there, we can't schedule on the integer unit and the floating point unit at the same time, because we're missing some of that dispatch unit. That would make sense. That would make sense. It's a weird architecture. I will have to read the rest of that article, but even just looking at the block diagram was really, really insightful. I think that's why we were seeing the performance we were seeing, which was real strange performance. All right, what is this doing now? Background task host process, and a little bit of virus scanning. All right. Heck this, let's just run some games. I'm sick of waiting for Windows. Excuse me. Let's see what we can get this thing to do. Yeah, no, the FX4200 is weird. It's a weird chip. Okay, we're going to do DX11 mode. See what this does. I mean, I definitely geeked out about it. That was really fascinating. I didn't think they would ever try it. Like, why? On the one hand, why would you ever, right? Like, it had to be such a pain in the butt to try and, like, fuse off those integer units instead of just pulling out whole modules. Unless they did it, like, through, like, microcode or something like that. But the other part of me knows, like, okay, AMD's done this before, right? Like the Ryzen 3300X, where they put all the cores into the upper part of the CCX so that they all were on the same piece of level 3 cache to see what that would do with gaming performance. Maybe they were just screwing around. Who knows? Maybe they thought it was a way that they could get, slightly better performance out of a 4-core version of Bulldozer. It was certainly interesting. I do still have an FX4100 on the way to, like, just do a head-to-head, but it's going to be after the new year, and I have no idea when it's supposed to arrive. Okay, so the FX4200 is wild because it's a full Vishera die that's had half of its integer units disabled. So it still has, like, it still consumes like 125 watts. The TDP is still way up there. So, like, you don't get any of the efficiency bonuses or any of the efficiency benefits from, running a 4-core Bulldozer part because you're running all 4 modules. You just don't have, all the compute capability. It's wild. It's totally bizarro chip. I do believe we are still launching. I think Steam is just doing all of its install stuff. Yeah, Yeah, messing with nearly decade-old hardware is fun. It is. It's a good time. I got all this bulldozer stuff originally because I wanted to see, you know, the classic age-old question. Is the 6-core K10 faster than the 6-core bulldozer? Because a lot of the outlets at the time, back in the day, suggested that the bulldozer was a downgrade in performance. Of course, I goofed and I got a 6300, which is piledriver, which, as we saw in our testing, is actually quite a bit faster than bulldozer. Definitely some efficiency improvements there. Okay, we are in Redout, finally. Finally. Let's see what we've got for options. Looks like we've got something similar where it's doing lots of anti-aliasing. So let's turn that off. Oh, first of all, it's running at 1080p instead of 720p. So we'll do that first. Somewhere, come on, 1080p. There we go, 720p. Okay, thank you. We'll apply that. Better, okay. We'll set all this stuff. That's interesting. So it looks like it's, Synthgal asked earlier if you can set these things down to low from medium. It's like medium's the lowest setting, and then you can turn it off. Desync off. Quality medium. So we're already looking better. And yeah, if I turn off post-processing, we're up to, 44 FPS in the menus. That's not nothing. That's a lot better. A lot better. So we'll do the same track. Same car. Our shaders work this time, which makes sense. We're not doing DXVK. So far, so good. Let's see. Let's see what happens when we start the renderer. Yeah, that's better than we were seeing before. 17 FPS. It's still not amazing, but let's see what it does. Oh, we're immediately down into like 8 frames per second, so it's basically the same. Once we actually get moving, even with the post-processing turned off, we're not in great shape. So neither of these are exactly what you call, like, you know, a gaming thin client. Although I don't think that's a thing that should exist. I don't think gaming thin clients should exist, really. I can boost. Boosting is very bad at 8 frames per second. Oh, we're at 12 now. Ooh, 12 whole frames per second. It's definitely better. I mean, most of that I think is probably turning off the post-processing. If I turn the post-processing back on, I think we're probably going to see the same frame rate from this as we were seeing on DXVK. Which is kind of a testament to DXVK and Proton. Like, that's doing some good work. So really, the only question at this point that I really have about this is, how is the video performance in Windows? Is it any better than it is on Nobara? Because if it's not, why would I ever run Windows on this thing? Right? Gaming performance is basically the same. Well, let's try Skyrim before we say gaming performance is the same. But like this is basically identical. It's slow in both places. Let's see what Skyrim does. Oh geez, of course. Gotta download and install .NET. Again, why would I ever run Windows on this thing? Such a pain. What I'd probably try, instead of Nobara, because Nobara is so focused on gaming, is I'd probably try, originally, I wanted to get Bazite on here, because Bazite's like the new hotness in Linux distributions. I wanted to try it. It had trouble booting, and I think it was because I didn't have the EGID injector in line at the time, so it was trying to do 4K on this hardware, which really shouldn't be doing 4K. So I might try Bazite over the winter break and see what it does on this thing, because that would be pretty cool. Something that's a little more, like, not quite so gaming focused, but can still run the occasional old Windows game through Proton or whatever. Yeah, basically. GUC fans is wouldn't that be what we call mini PCs nowadays? Yeah, basically, exactly. Mini PCs, thin clients, tablets, netbooks when they existed, bless their souls. They all basically run the same things. Embedded processors. Does the Pentium 4 Extreme Edition 3.4 gigahertz on socket 478 really have level 3 cache? I'd be surprised if it had level 3 cache. I don't think level 3 cache made it into any of the Pentium 4s, but I would have to double check that. Now once you get into the Pentium Ds, I'm less certain, because those are all based on the server chips, because Intel needed something a little faster to compete with AMD. So they brought like Gallatin down to the desktop and turned them into the higher end Pentium 4s and Pentium Ds. But I don't know. The P4, especially on 478, I feel like 478 didn't have any level 3 cache. Yeah, the sun thin clients are wild. I had a couple of them. The sun rays. They're pretty great. Let's see. Well, yeah, Intel's Arc says it has level 3 cache. I'm reading the Wikipedia page for it, and it was nicknamed the Emergency Edition. And with a $1,000 price tag, it was also referred to as the Expensive Edition. Yeah, there you go. It was the Pentium 4 EE was mostly identical to the Pentium 4, but differed by adding 2 megs of level 3 cache. And yeah, it was Gallatin. Same Gallatin core as the Xeon multiprocessor, but in socket 478 socket 478 form factor. There you go. There you go. Like I said, they had to bring Gallatin down to the desktop in order to compete with the Athlon 64 because they were just getting their butt kicked. But did that say it defaulted to high? I think it said it defaulted to high. That's ambitious. Alright, I'm going to do the ultra preset. Slowly, what on earth? Oh no, it crashed. Wow. That's great. Is Windows doing something in the background? It's feeling sluggish. Windows is doing something in the background. Why am I surprised? Compatibility telemetry runner. Get out of here. Go away. 30% of the CPU for the compatibility telemetry runner. Just walk off a cliff, Microsoft. God, this OS. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Samsung Sim says they're like $600 or $700 on eBay. I bet they are. Absolutely. That does not surprise me in the slightest. Okay, so anti-aliasing off and 4x AF. And play. What do we get? Can't wait to see. Boy, look at all those pop-ups. Why am I running Windows on this? It's freaking Windows Game Bar and then the Radeon software pop-up. Come on. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea, actually. Do a deep load on this. Probably not a bad idea, but like, again, I just did a bone stock Nobara install. It doesn't nag you about anything. I'm guessing this is going to run just fine. Because this is right in this thing's wheelhouse. Oh, you know, actually it's not that great. It's pretty much the same, slightly faster. We've got 16 frames per second instead of 12. That's kind of fascinating. So yeah, like with Redout, it's slightly faster, but it's still not what I would consider good or playable. Come on. Yeah, it's pretty laggy. What? Apparently, there's like a threshold of number of polygons on the screen. If I cross it, we just go straight into 60 FPS. Watch this. Whoop! There we go. Nice smooth 60 as long as I look in this direction. What? What is this? Also, would you look at those GPU percentage numbers? GPU 1 and GPU 2. I don't know what it's talking about. How does it think it has 2 graphics cards? That is bizarre. And they're not the same utilization numbers. What is this thing doing? I might have to run GPU-Z on this one more time and see if it detects 2 cards. That is absolutely wild. Maybe it's like virtually splitting the iGPU into 2 pieces for the 2 display ports? Because, like, that would make sense to see with the frame rate we're seeing. Oh, it won't let me use escape. I gotta use my start button. That is wild. I put both of them in there because I'm like, all right, one of those will show 0%, the other one will show the actual utilization. But no, both of them show utilization. What? Why? Okay, just help shed some light on this, GPU-Z, please. Pretty please. Yeah, it's the 2 cores. Right? Some wild crossfire going on inside this thin client. Okay, R7E graphics. Yeah, so GPU-Z only sees the one. I don't know why Afterburner thinks there's 2 of them, but I'm tending to agree with GPU-Z here in this case. Like it's probably correct. Wild. What are we running at for? Oh, NA for bus interface. Who knows? It just built onto the CPU. Okay, so video performance then. Very curious to see. If I do this, and we'll do the 1080p first. This one should be a piece of cake. Oh, we've got sound out through the HDMI now. How nice. Give me Task Manager. Yeah, it looks like we've got the hardware video acceleration there. 8% of the CPU. I'll go with that. Let's see about 1080p 60. Looking good, looking good. Frame rate 60 FPS. We're seeing more utilization from the Radeon, so that's good. The embedded Radeon. So we are definitely doing hardware acceleration here. CPU is also doing more work though, so I imagine the 4K 60 is not going to be that great. But let's see. Oh, what was that? Wait, really? Yo! Dropped 0? Ladies and gentlemen, we have the winner of the home theater PC contest. It's the embedded bulldozer running 4K 60 with no dropped frames. I am very surprised. Wow. Samsung Simp asks, what chip is your logo based on? Thank you for asking. It's actually based on a couple. Obviously, as you can see it rotating around right down there, the front of the chip is based on the actually the Athlon XP. especially the later flip chip variants on the organic package. Love those. Barton core, basically. And then, of course, on the back, I put the correct number of pins on there for the pin grid array for socket 7. And there is, of course, a chip cover on the back there, as if that were a ceramic packaged chip, which would be, you'd have the ceramic substrate, chip goes in, and then, you know, all the bond wires get attached, and then the cap goes on underneath, and then that's the part that you plug into the motherboard. So it's a complete fantasy chip. It doesn't exist, but it's kind of an amalgamation between like a classic like Pentium and an Athlon XP Barton core. So that's what my logo is based on. Thank you for asking. And yes, that is the exact count and spacing for I believe for a socket 7. If you could print it out on like a resin printer, I think it would slot right into a socket 7 socket 7 ZIF socket. All right, well, for crying out loud, it was the embedded bulldozer all along. I am shocked, honestly. I really thought that little Pentium was going to do it, but dang, AMD's cooking with something with this one. That's not bad. Carrizo good, actually. Turns out. I think that's gonna do it for tonight, y'all. That was a heck of a ride. Wow. I was not expecting that. Certainly not like a high-end gaming chip, but the fact that it can do 4K 60 basically effortlessly, good enough for me. Let's see what it does with YouTube Firefox here. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Dang, offline H265, 4K 60, no problem. That's wild. Absolutely wild. Can I spell? I can spell. Hooray. Do one more here. We'll do one more test with the LG OLED video. I forget if we already did this one, but it's the black, isn't it? It's called the black. Yeah, that's the one with the honey. Better believe it. Firefox, best browser. Alright. Is YouTube done with all of its JavaScript? I think it is. Okay, let's get this to 4K. Stats for nerds. Full screen. What do we got? Oh, wow. Wow, that's such a different performance. It can't do it at all. There's no VP9 acceleration in this, I think. I think that's what's happening. Ah, that's so interesting. It does the H265 like nothing, and it can't do VP9 to save its butt. That's so funny. Wow, that is wild. Well, there we go. Now we know. Oh wait, or is it because Windows is doing things in the background? It's always because Windows is doing things in the background. What are you doing? God-awful operating system. What are you doing now? Okay, it has stopped. Let's try that again. Just open up my history. Close tab. Let YouTube load in all of its JavaScript. So much JavaScript. There we go. 6% CPU usage. Alright, let's try this again. Play. Yeah, no, it doesn't like that at all. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Yeah, I think this SoC, the embedded bulldozer, running some variant of Linux, I think is going to be the way to do it. Wait, hang on. Now it's fine. What's it doing? Oh, it's a 720p. That's why. Why did it suddenly start playing correctly? Oh, it's because it moved down to 720p. Yeah, and you touch any of the controls on this player, and it's just like, ooh, can't do it. Dying. Ugh. It should be. I installed it yesterday, so it should be up to date. Mike asked if the browser is updated. Like, yeah, it should be up to date. Come on. Have a good one. Synth Gal's heading out. Yeah, it super doesn't like the 4K. I wonder if it'll do 1440p in VP9. It does not like this codec. And like, this is, if you remember, for a long time, there was, you know, everybody got the H.264ify extension, right? Where you'd force YouTube to use its H.264 feeds. And this is why, I think, because a bunch of people running like Radeon graphics cards couldn't decode VP9 because there wasn't support for it. Yeah, it super doesn't like this. That's funny. So I guess you know if you got like H.264ify, it would be fine. And looks like 1080p is mostly okay, as long as you don't touch the UI. Yeah, 1080p it'll do. We're looking good there. The dropped frames number's not going up, so it'll do 1080p, 60, but not 4K, not over YouTube. That's really interesting. And the Pentium just did it, no problem. Wild. Just wild. That is the power of codec support in your hardware accelerated decode. And yeah, that's running, you can see the CPU usage on that. That's running entirely in software. Yikes! I think, though, this is still the winner. This is going to be my home theater PC for the next while, because the offline playback is superb. Absolutely superb. And most of my stuff, most of my media is offline anyway. So that's awesome. I'm glad I did this. I went into this thinking this was not going to be the machine I was going to use. But it's pretty great. I have to find a Wi-Fi card I can stick in this slot, so I don't have to plug it in. I don't have to run an Ethernet cable over to my couch. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. I think we're gonna call it there, y'all. This was good. What a great stream. I love it when I learn something on stream. This is great. Make sure that actually shuts down. And we'll go back to the A-cam. Ta-da! To play y'all out. It's been a journey. It's been a good night. I'm glad y'all were here for this. This is very interesting. I hope y'all had fun as well. I was peering at the concurrent viewer numbers, and it looks like this was a well-enjoyed stream, so I hope everybody had fun. Have a good holiday. I know it's not the best time of the year for a lot of folks out there, but you know, try and survive it. And if it's a good time of year for you, enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful time. And I am going to be not streaming next week. That's going to be my winter vacation. And then starting in January, I think I'll start doing test streams on Twitch. Twitch.tv, excuse me, twitch.tv/techambrosia, all one word, lowercase, techambrosia, is going to be where we'll find the Saturday streams in 2025. I think it's going to be a fun time. I'm hoping to work with some of the community. I know some folks in the Twitch streaming community. I'm hoping to work with them to build up some fun stream rewards and some redeems and some fun stuff we can do with that. So, with that said, I hope everybody has a good one, and I will see you in 2, maybe 3 weeks. All right? Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful night, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor. Have a good one.